Hey, check up. Let's play some D. Welcome to episode 33. Three threes, two threes, two threes. 33. Episode 33 of Play Some D. That's that Scottie Pippen number. Yeah, it's funny speaking of Scottie Pippen, he's got a book coming out or something, so he's in the news or in the whatever. I don't even know what you call it, tabloids, internet. I mean, what do you call it nowadays? He's in the trending topics, kind of trolling Jordan or won his respect or whatever. But yeah, this is episode 33 of Play Some D, and we are not talking about Scottie Pippen today. Ain't gonna happen. I don't know. He trying to sell books, or he really angry, or want his love and respect and flowers or whatever. Scottie Pippen's a great all time player. I don't know what else he wants from people, but neither here nor there. Yeah. So I'm here with four topics, four quarters, obviously, and play some D. Um, they kind of go definitely all over the place today, and no sports, no sports here today. So if you came for sports, you can click to the next video or whatever you want to do. But if you're here to stay and you like the content, please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn in post notifications so you can see when these videos drizz out. But yeah, I'm be talking about cat allergy, gene editing, a mixture of all that jazz that I just found a little bit interesting this week. I'll be taking you in an evening with Silk Sonic. I'll do that album review. We'll also talk about the vice president and Metaverse. The Metaverse. So, just in that verse, in the Metaverse, let's hop right in to the Metaverse. That's quarter number one. We'll tip it off with the Metaverse because it's always been it it's always been something kind of talked about. I guess it says it was originally coined in Neil Stephenson's novel, Cyberpunk 1992 novel, and it's I guess it's maybe it, I guess overall, I mean, I guess uh, it looks like everybody seems to have their own idea of what it is and what it means, and I think when it's fully formed and developed, then we'll have an actual idea of what the metaverse is. I mean, it looks like it's some form of virtual reality where you can um, own virtual properties and have a virtual avatar and do virtual things that you can't do in day-to-day life because of restrictions, laws, or whatever the case may be. I'm sure there'll be some rules and restrictions in the metaverse, but you're supposed to be able to like watch concerts and travel around the world with friends in the virtual environment. And I guess the only thing that really makes it beneficial is safety. Like you can, if you get good viewing experience, you're not getting a personal, real live experience. You're getting a viewing experience. It's essentially like watching movies. You're not in the movie. You're watching the movie. You're enjoying what you see. It's different when you're in it actually as a human. So it's the safety aspect. Obviously, you travel the world or you dip deep into the oceans. There's cool things that a metaverse or VR, but I'll just keep it in the metaverse terms, can be awesome and cool. But the idea of making it something that almost in some sense replaces life is stupid. I mean, it's just dumb. uh, what people feel comfortable doing behind um, a keyboard and a mouse is always been strange to me. Like that's certain stuff that you just wouldn't do in person because you have a wall blocking you. That person can actually see you or do anything physical to you, so you feel kind of, or just that um, internet courage. They call it liquid courage when you go to the clubs, like internet courage. I mean, I don't even know if that's even logical to say, honestly, but I just think people need to. I think the actual universe, the actual plane that we live on, needs to be a little more friendly for us all to engage in, and not have to worry about a metaverse in aspect of it being even close to replacing life. It would just be be crazy. Facebook, yeah, like I said, it always started with the Facebook. They're changing their name to Meta, and that's because uh, it seems like Mark Zuckerberg kind of gets it. I mean, Facebook is huge. Facebook's a big deal. I mean, Facebook's not going anywhere. So why not evolve it to the next level? And if people want to be in a virtual world so much, why not put them there and give them more experiences? So that makes sense. Um, he said that the best way to understand the metaverse is to experience yourself. Obviously, that can't be done. It doesn't exist. After breaking down Meta's vision and looking at the history of Metaverse, both the concept and as an embodied multiple distinct online spaces, we identify the following elements that, taken together, seem to define the Metaverse. Anything that has any business using the term will include one or all of the following: a shared social space with avatars, a persistent world for the avatars to inhabit and interact with, the ability to own virtual property, the ability to create your own virtual property, Minecraft, in with whatever, the ability to exchange or sell it, um, a shared universal IP from multiple major companies. So the companies will definitely get involved. Full 3D, blah blah blah. So it'll be, companies will get involved, people will make money. It'll be another aspect to make money. I mean, Minecraft, Roblox, um, these are spaces that people love and kids love, and why not capitalize on it? Like I said, I totally agree, but it could get very very sketchy and scary if people delve into this world outside of doing anything but eating and actually sleeping. That could be what it almost turns into, is that we are humans living actually as avatars, and in some conspiracies or thought process of people, that we're avatars of somebody else essentially doing the same thing, where we may be a metaverse. That's just a whole nother whatever that I'll probably never ever talk about. But some people feel or think that way. Call them crazy, idiots, whatever you want. That's on you. But that'll essentially turn into um, an idea. I also read that Facebook's like they're doing something with gloves to make it, make the virtual reality experience more authentic. I'm sure it'll be other stuff, stuff to put on your feet, probably around your waist, give you a nice environment. And then I think, these places will probably start building out uh, studio spaces, warehouse, and things of that nature. People could have an ample enough space to go in there and really, immerse themselves. And that also wouldn't be too, to take it a step further, to say, okay, if it does happen and people do it like that, at least if people can allow it, if this happens, that you get outside of your house. Say there is a warehouse, say there is a park or something where everybody kind of comes together, put on their glasses, and does their thing. Because at some point you have to take those off, you have to walk out, and you hope you will interact with somebody. And if you guys are somewhere, like the people that was doing the Pokemon stuff, and when you are somewhere with people having the same genuine interest in you, you usually have a more inclination to want to chit chat and talk, and that's place where people build relationships, real relationships, and I think that's the key. I mean, I think if people we're more social and comfortable and loving around each other, the metaverse would not even be a thought process. That people were getting out, enjoying each other, and having a good time. These concepts would be just something you did on literally on like free time for like an hour to go see the Grand Canyon or just something silly like that. Have some fun, throw your avatar off a building or something like that. That's what people will be doing it for, goofiness, instead of actually trying to indulge themselves with making themselves properties, selling it, having a world, making a cool avatar with all the stuff you wish you had on or looked like and things of that nature. So the metaverse concept is just something that uh it makes sense. I just hope it doesn't get real legs, and Facebook leading the charge is just in a whole nother realm scary. So yeah, we'll see how all that we'll see how all that jams out. But yeah, metaverse. All right, so for quarter number 2, it's been interesting news with Kamala Harris lately. So her poll numbers are down. Let me see. She had 28%. But there's a lot of talk about this USA poll. She had 28%. We've seen a bunch of numbers like that. But we see numbers are dwindling. We see that her average right now is in the low 40s, about 41% based on LA Times aggregated percent. When she did the Guatemala trip is when it started to drop her overall approval. So what I wanted to talk about is I think that 28% is lower than, I think this is the lowest vice president rating ever. So the idea is that I kind of want to talk about like what the vice president do and in terms of ratings, like somebody rating them. This also almost feels like I kind of want to put it out first. It almost feels like it's just an attack on just the other part. It seems like it's just the other party attacking the Democratic Party. The attacks on Biden have never really worked because Biden isn't exactly what the Republican Party was hoping that the Democrat president would be. They wanted that whole villainous, but Biden sits in the middle, so it's hard to attack him because he does stuff that isn't what the Republicans want the Democratic Party to sway into. So Kamala Harris is the easiest target to attack, especially if she actually isn't doing much. So you just, people, a lot of people mention, and they do a good job. It's the Republican Party does a good job of messaging, getting out words and themes that they want to carry on. And whether it's seeping through or whether it's actually just she deserves a 28% rating, I just don't know the vice president does enough to really even be rated. Like, it's kind of goofy because it's like they don't do enough. And I always felt that is that they're like in reality they're the assistant. I mean, they're really there. They're really there in case something happens to the president. President's impeached or dies. I mean, that's really what they do. I mean, you can call them a council. Like, if the president doesn't want to counsel with the vice president to make a decision, they don't have to. It's cool. It looks good on paper, but each person has a team that prepares themselves for whatever they need to be prepared for. I mean, should she be out there pounding the pavement and getting messages out and talking cool and fancy and stuff like that? Maybe so, but if that's not her, then, and everyone's a total fan of Kamala. I think she's like she advertised herself originally the top cop, and I just don't think that really changes. And just like Mike Pence thought Trump was gonna get up out of there, she probably is thinking Joe's probably gonna get up out of there at some point. Doesn't look like it now, but she probably felt like I got a good chance to be president. And this is a good catapult for her to eventually become president. So back to the ratings ideas that just because you're not out parading around acting as if you're doing something, because in reality you're not really doing nothing unless you're just doing like activist stuff that's on that person's cause, and then that's not also going directly against the president's agenda. So you got to be careful what you do, because you still on, it's a teammate, it's a sidekick. It's like Batman and Robin. Like if Batman's out there, kicking butt, and Robin's down with what Batman's doing, but he can't really make decisions on what criminals to catch and things to that nature. I mean, you can't ding Robin for it, can you? I don't know if that's a great example, but that's how I feel. That's how I always felt the president was, just a sidekick. Like, I, who judges the sidekick? I mean, we're in a place that I don't know why that ever happened. It just seemed like a talking point. Um, so so what does the vice president do? This was what was like, okay, what do they actually do? Because I always felt like they do nothing, and reading up, they don't really do anything. Um, they serve directly beneath the president and assume the responsibility of presidency if the incumbent president dies, leave office for the end of the term, as stated in the Constitution. The 25th Amendment refers to the vice president must serve as the acting president in the event the incumbent president becomes temporarily incapacitated. The vice president also served as the president of the Senate, may preside over Senate sessions, and may cast tie-breaking votes when the elected senators reach a stalemate. In common practice, a vice president tends to spend little time in the Senate, primarily focused on executive branch duties along with the president and cabinet members. Executive branch, the role in the executive branch. Provides no official duties. The Constitution provides no official duties for the vice president apart from assuming presidency in the event of impeachment, resignation, or death in office. The vice president attends cabinet meetings and leads them when the president is out of the country, and they play an active role in fundraising, presiding over public events, and represent the United States abroad. That's where you would think it would be super easy for her to flex her political muscle. Fundraising, can do that. Presiding over public events, I think it's all fake. I always thought she was just kind of phony at that, so that might not work. And then abroad, unless she just doesn't really know what she's doing abroad, the fundraising and being representing the United States abroad is where she should be in the public eye, people noticing her and doing something, that doesn't have her at 28%. But really, those three things are just sidekicking. I mean, fundraising for what? Like a cause, right? Presiding over public events for what? A cause, a thing, the Super Bowl. I don't know what. I don't know. Public events for what? Like you're the vice president. Like we're supposed to be actually fixing stuff, not being at public events, smiling and shaking hands. I'm the vice president. Like what? And then obviously the representing the United States abroad makes sense because I don't know if it happened or how much it happened. They say it doesn't, but the president and the vice president are supposed to be in the same place at the same time. Understandable. If I was the vice president, I would be doing what needs to be done abroad. That's what personally I would be doing if I was the vice president, figuring out what the president needed, helping them in other countries, because that is a place that where I feel like it's lacking a bit. I think the United States just thinks they're the United States, so it all just works. Decades of customs have added responsibilities to the role of the vice president, particularly when it comes to foreign affairs. Congress formalized this aspect of the job in 1949 when it made vice president a statutory member of the executive branch National Security Council, giving the vice president an ongoing seat in conversations about foreign affairs. Once again, that's the role that you would think makes sense. Like the president needs to be in the United States probably more than anywhere else. So why wouldn't a vice president take their talents elsewhere to help build relationships? That always made sense as a role that you just can't sit on the couch. You want to do something, right? Especially when you have a position of power like that. Let me do something. And I always felt like that was the one, but it's really not even a defining role of what you should be doing, especially if you're doing something the president wants you to do that you don't want to do, that then affects your political career, which could be the case here. I don't really know. The role of the vice president in the legislation branch is to be the vice president of the Senate, which falls under the legislation branch. The vice president is not president. The Senate's president pro tempore, the most senior member of the majority party, presides. That sounds like what almost always happens. And then in this particular article I'm reading, it's the evolution of the vice president's role. The Constitution confers minimal powers into the vice president. So the vice president's power and scope of duties tend to emanate from the president, just like I thought. So with Biden's approval rating being low, it also kind of makes sense with Kamala's being low. But for it to be a talking point and for us to really care about it, I mean, yes, we don't see her that much. When she talks, it's a little bit awkward. But I think it's unfair. I said it just seems like a ploy to just tank numbers. It's a number tanking thing because, like, ooh, look, her approval rating is low. But low on what? What hasn't she done and what has she done? Given that she hasn't done much, shouldn't it be at 50? Shouldn't it be 50-50? Like, who knows what she's doing? You can't say she's doing a bad job and she's not doing nothing bad. She's doing the job that is the job of the vice president, literally, technically to sit around and wait, make sure nothing happens. Yes, you could be proactive and do things, but you can't do things that you don't really want to do or like to do or totally agree with the president. So you know, because that could affect you down the line politically. So you just got to be careful with that. So I just wanted to, look into that. And it's vice president just always seemed, I don't know, it just seemed out of place. It seemed like it should be somebody appointed to be ready to take over the presidency if something happens. For them to actually be responsible for something and then have to worry about their numbers is just, I think it's a little cheap. And I think it's going to be cheap for a long time because the divide is so large. Halftime. It's 33, right? Yeah, nothing. Halftime, nothing. Third quarter, let's get it. Cat allergies, baby. Kitty cat. Kitty cat allergies. All right, so just came across this and kind of just gonna be really quick with this. So it looks like there's gonna be the human cat allergy, the treatments for it. It's a protein. It's the the FeLD1. The protein that bothers people, looks like from their saliva or their hair and things of that nature, is the FeLD1. And the idea is to give the cats, is to fix the cats. And in some cases, people are allergic to dogs too. They'll probably do this to dogs. We already do. Because I'm an animal, not an animal lover as much as I used to be. I mean, I eat animals, so I know that takes a little bit off of it. I love animals to death, though, but I gotta eat. So I mean, it's just I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But I don't eat cats and dogs, at least from what I know. We put hats on them and glasses and gloves and shoes and coats that they already don't want on them. I believe. I mean, there may be a small margin that enjoys a nice little jacket because they may be cold or whatever. But I think for the most part, animals just want to be, free. We alter their sexual organs. It's just like if somebody was tinkering with, somebody snipped our balls or took took women's ovaries out and things of that nature so they can, walk around the house in our box. Their world is our home, which is essentially a box. That's what they live in for most cats, particular. For dogs, they may have an extension of outside and wherever you walk them, but they don't get to roam the planet in freedom like we do. So we already have them under constraints. And to say that we're gonna take a gene away from them that could harm the cats or give them some food that could then harm the cats or a vaccine that could also harm the cats. It's goofy. If if you have a cat and your kids are born and they're allergic, you just gotta get rid of the cat. It's just better for the cat. I mean, I guess some can argue to say, hey, if we can give them some food that'll lessen the protein from getting my child's eyes itchy, things of that nature. And the studies, go on where it's okay. But I just think, giving the cat away, and I know a lot of people say, oh, it's gonna go to a shelter and eventually get killed. But that absolutely sucks. But what if this food or vaccine, gene editing, whatever, just makes the cat even more miserable living under your constraints? Unfortunate events happen, and if you have a kid that's alerted to your pet, I think you should do your due diligence to get that pet to another home, and or um, figure out a way where you don't it doesn't lead to death for that animal. And I just think unless it's just an incredible food source, which food seems the most less invasive to me by changing what the cat eats to lessen that. I don't that just sounds a little strange to me. Vaccines and gene editing is just creepy. Gene editing turns into something else to me. So I just think putting the experimentation on the animals sucks, and it should be on the human. If you got to put a helmet on your kid, I guess that's the other option, right? They're around the cat, put a helmet on them so they don't get scratchy eyes, or let the kid drink Benadryl. It's just like, oh, I'm not giving my kid medicine, but you're gonna get a cat medicine. Like, what's the dealio here? So that's the that's just sketchy to me. I just putting animals through any more unnecessary treatments. We give them shots, and I said we neuter them and um, snip them, and I guess it's the same thing. Whatever. It would be unfair to say something they produce naturally just has to be eliminated. Um, so Purina began the competition in early days of the pandemic with cat food. It says it can reduce the protein that most allergic people react to by 47% after 3 weeks. Um, so there's people who want to be around a cat, despite allergies are labor intensive, question of value, sometimes defy common sense. How many emergency department trips would ensue if we all tried to give our cats frequent baths? Sometimes are not taking a different approach. Let's see here. Yeah, CRISPR, the gene editing technique to knock out the gene that makes it. Those two projects were years from fruition. So CRISPR's working on the gene editing, which I just think is um, one cat owner who participated in Purina focus group said he bought a new couch every 6 months so he could get allergens out of his house and keep his cat. If that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. Um, Cat allergies affect 10 to 20% of adults. More than 90% of them react to the FLD1. About 5% of adults are allergic to dogs, but many substances are involved in those allergies. So 10 to 20% to then get to harassing cats, I just don't think is fair. It shouldn't happen. It, I just don't know. I mean the Purina Pro Plan food. I guess you can get it, see how your cat does, and then and then maybe that's fair. Like I said, the vaccines and the gene editing sits on the horizon. I don't even really want to. I mean, that's just a complete no for me. If you want, I get it. Once again, let me revert back and say I understand it. I totally understand why people want to do it. They want to keep their pets. They want to keep their family. What's the common ground? Um, if I can get another cat, I like cats. I get another cat, give them a vaccine. Um, I think it's just unfair that the animals have to get that um, the short end of the stick. That's really all this was about, and I'm just surprised people are entertaining it. 10 to 20% of adults. I mean, cats being somewhat domesticated, they're animals. They want to be out and about and moving around. Being stuck at somebody's home. Most cats are in like, I won't say most. I think it's most cats. I don't know. I could look that up too, but they're in apartments and don't have anything to climb on or have fun or chase. They just sit around and wag their tails and eat and sleep and pee. And I think that's just super boring. And you're gonna say that you're gonna take something out of me that I'm natural, natural me. You're gonna eliminate and possibly make my life worse or more uncomfortable. Yeah, it's just unfair. But looks like it's gonna happen, and people are people are gonna do it. Maybe it won't be that many cats. Like I said, since it's 10 to 20% of people, won't be that many cats that'll get unfortunately stabbed or their genes edited. Fourth quarter is an album review. Haven't done an album review in a while. A lot of people have been waiting on this baby, and it's an evening with Silk Sonic. It's the R&B group from Mr. Mars, Peter Jean Hernandez, and Mr. Anderson, Paak, Brandon Paak Anderson. Those two guys are awesome artists. I wasn't a fan of Bruno early on, but 24 Karat Magic. I know I'm not getting that wrong, right? Yeah, 24 Karat Magic was just incredible album. I think it's top 10 of this century for sure. Oh wait, I did a review of that. I think I did put it in my top 10. I have to look back. But it's an incredible album. Um, but yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect from this one. So leave the door open is is a solid feel good song. Smoking out the window. They have three singles on it now. It's 9 tracks, about 31 minutes long, which I think is good. Maybe one more song, one more nice smooth song would be good. But overall, it's a really good project. It's something you can sit. It's really only 8 songs because the intro is just the intro, 1 minute long. It's really something you could sit and just relax to. Like you just got the family over. You could play this and just let it ride. It's cool. It's smooth. It's exactly what the title is in the evening with Silk Sonic, where you could just like turn this on. Maybe your girls over, your guys over. Like I said, the family's over. You're just hanging out, chilling. It all works for that. the put on a smile in 777 track 6 and 7, they're okay, but everything else on here is bomb.com. My favorite is Skate. I think Skate is by far the standout. Everything about it, from the melody to the chorus to all of the above, is really good. But what's so funny is that for the last probably 2 months, I've been saying smooth as a newborn, smooth as a newborn from Lead the Door Open all the time. It makes me so angry, but I laugh all the time when I do it. But I just say it randomly during the day because it's just so catchy. And that's the one thing about both of these guys, is that all, all of Paak's albums I've enjoyed. So um, Malibu is my favorite. I breezed through Venice. Malibu, Oxnard is decent. Ventura's probably my least favorite, but I enjoy them because they give you those moments in the album, and they do a really good job with like production and things of that nature. They really care about that stuff. And then Bruno Mars is just, Bruno Mars is similar. So I think that's why they work. Um, but yeah, Leave the Door Open, Smoking Out the Window. Those other two singles are solid. But like I said, Skate's my favorite. And after last night with Thundercat and Boosie Collins, is that it's right there smack in the middle of the album, and it just does something to you. It gives you a good feeling. It gives you a good groove. It's um it's an enjoyable thing to listen to. So I always talk about, and in any of my album reviews, albums stick out for me more if I can enjoy them in the gym, because that's where, in most cases, I listen to most of the music. I mean, driving around in the car, I in the car as much as I used to be. So it how you listen and consume music can be a little bit different. So like in the gym, and then just how it alters your mood and changes how you feel, and then just like wordplay and the sound sonically. There's other stuff that kind of have to get your impression and dig into you deeper if you're not, you know, driving in a car a long time or running for a long time or just have music playing. But even when you just have music playing in the background, you're not really listening to it, unless you're listening to it. So that's how stuff has to, catch you for you to be enjoyable. And I think in most cases, most people just go back to certain songs on albums now. I mean, it's been around for a while. People just bought singles and just want certain songs and don't really listen to albums anymore. But I'll always do. Every time a premiere artist comes out, or just a project I've been wanting to hear, I listen to it front to back twice, at least twice. Um, you got to give it two listens, unless you just hate it the first listen. But even so, I still think you should give it another shot. If you had expectations or whatever for it, and that person's sound and things of that nature. So yeah, "Fly as Me" is one of those songs that you expected them to make. Uh, like I said, put a smile on the 777. They were just a little bit, um, to me, just not the. I won't call them all 10 out of 10s or 9 out of 10s, but I feel like it was like a 6 or a 7. Both of those. The rest of the songs I think were 8s and 9s and 10s. Um, yeah, it looks. They wrote everything. Bruno produced all of them. Um, the other producer here is D Mile. Um, okay, from Brooklyn. Never heard of him, but looks like he's up for, was up for multiple Grammys. So he's a big name. So it's D Mile, Bruno, and D Mile produced all the tracks, and yeah, Paak and Bruno wrote on every track. And there's some other people that wrote too, but they are they have the credits on here. Um, we got Babyface some background vocals on here. Definitely missed some of that. There's yeah, Thundercat did some vocals, did some bass. Um, the instruments are the instruments. I'm a big instrument guy, and the instruments on here come out so clean, and I feel like all the sounds come out clean, and it just feels like a fresh, cool breeze of music, if that makes sense. You just we don't hear stuff like this that often, so I think that's why I like it too. But yeah, even with Silk Sonic, check that joint out, and solid project. I didn't I didn't really have any major expectations of it. Of that, I knew it would be solid. Knew it would be a good listen, and it was that, and then some. But the three leading singles, they're all smashes. Big good sounding songs. So even with just three songs out of eight, technically, you know you nowadays, where expectations low, it's hard to complain about that. So yeah, this was 33. I said the Scottie Pippen episode. No sports today. It was all about the metaverse, cat allergies, gene editing crap, and even with Silk Sonic and the interesting concept of the vice president and polling and what they do. It's just I don't know. Our system is just kind of screwy. Always have been, but now that it's so um, you know, left or right, it makes things weird. I don't know. So yeah, appreciate you watching. Once again, if you enjoyed it, subscribe, hit the like button, turn on those post notifications, and thank you. Until next time, as always, I holla.